Good afternoon, everybody. Christian here. Today I do have a prophetic word to share with you. I actually have multiple dreams the Lord has given me, and I held them back to see if there's any more He's going to give me before I shared them with you. And now I have a whole bunch of dreams to share with you, and I'm not going to cram them all into one video. So I'm just kind of bringing out piece by piece, one video a week, showing you this is what the Lord was giving me. Before I get into that, I want to take a moment to say thank you for those of you who have supported this ministry in this particular month. Somebody from Washington, the unknown individual who has been supporting this ministry for a very long time. Thank you again. Again, I don't know who you are, and that's fine. That's how you want to do this, and that's fine. I appreciate it, though. Also, somebody from Australia, and there was some others as well. So I just want to take a moment and say thank you guys for that support. I know in this time period where many people are out of work, that is, it's not easy to give to other people, and I just want to say thank you. So let's get into the dream the Lord gave me. This is going to take place in the future. It's not already happened. It's important you know that. It's setting up for it, but it's just so you understand this is going to take place in the future. So in this dream, I see myself walking, and I am walking with my brother on my left-hand side, and it's a brother who I do not currently walk with, so I know it's sometime in the future. So in this dream I see him, and then in my left hand I am holding, I don't know the exact number, but it seems to be about 3 worms in my left hand. And these are massive worms. These are like this long and like that big around. I mean, just not something that I've ever seen in real life. But anyway, in this dream I have these worms in my hand. They're not moving around or anything, they're just limp laying there. And I have these because I'm going to use them as an example in a video I'm going to make to show you how bad something is going to be. And that's what I have acquired them for. I purchased them for this purpose, to show as an example of what's coming. In my right hand, as I'm walking, I also have a loaf of bread. But this isn't a type of loaf of bread that I common to see in the United States of America, or at least not at my level, my economic status. I buy a loaf of bread from Walmart or something, and it's like this, and it's sliced up like for sandwiches, and it's in a baggie. This is different. This is a loaf of bread, like an old style loaf of bread, and it's given to me by the government. And I know this in the dream. It's just this knowledge that I have, and I'm holding it in my hand. And I know that this bread has a bad reputation. So as I'm walking toward my home, this is not really my home, but in the dream it's my home. And as I'm walking toward it, I have the bread in my right hand, and I take a bite out of the bread. And as I take a bite out of the bread, I look at the bread to see, do I see anything wrong with it? Is there any reason for the bad reputation of this bread? So as I take this bite, I'm looking at it, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with it at all. And then, as I look, something small starts to come out of the bread. And it's a very small ant. At first, I'm like, well, okay, well, there is something, but it's a small thing. It's not that bad. And then I see another ant coming out, only this one's larger. As I'm looking, I see what looks like a beetle, and then I see a wasp, a red wasp coming out of this bread. And it's alive and able to, move on, and it actually comes out and starts flying around, and I try to shoo it away. Finally, I'm like, okay, something's up. I don't know what all's in this bread. I want to cut into this bread, take the loaf of bread, it's like this circle, and I'm going to turn it on its side, and I'm going to cut it and then fillet it and put, on either side face up. And as I do that, I look, and it is full of all kinds of horrible stuff, including the worms that I had purchased to show an example of what's coming. They are already in this bread. I don't need these worms. They're in this bread along with other things, and I just am so disgusted by this bread, I throw it in the dumpster next to the worms that I purchased to explain how bad something's going to be. And I look at it, I'm like, I didn't even need to buy those worms. The bread alone is so bad, it will show it. This dream, when I woke up after having this dream, I understood that the Lord was speaking to me that this is the future, and it's symbolic of what's coming, but it's also the government's going to have to support its people to the extent of giving out food, kind of thing. And you could look at that from a literal perspective, because we know that the government has already started to do that to some degree. And I'm seeing bread lines, and that's kind of what's being shown in this dream. But also how things, when you first get them, they don't look bad. And then they start to get a little worse, and a little worse, and a little worse, until the point that you just throw the whole thing in the garbage. It's just not to be touched. That's what's coming on our nation.